Robby D and the Lesser Known.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Robby D and the Lesser Knowns. I am your expert host, Robby D. What am I an expert of? State capitals, for sure. A couple other things, but we'll get into that later, because I'm not the point of this show. The point of this show is to interview a guest, and every week we have a fantastic guest. And this week is, by God, no different. This week is phenomenal. I'm very excited for our guest this week. But before we get to her, one problem. Producer Will is not here again today. He is off on his other commitments, so we're going to go without him. He's here in spirit, probably, if he's into that sort of thing. We'll ask him next time he's on the show. In any case, my guest today has been on Stargirl, Bluff City Law, Stars Fell on Alabama, American Idol. She has her own YouTube channel. She was Miss Georgia. She was second runner-up to Miss USA, amongst a levy of other amazing credits. Let me introduce you today to Mrs. Lesa Wilson.
Hello.
Wow. How was that intro? What do you think?
That was amazing. I'm over here blushing. Gosh.
Are you?
Yeah.
It was good. I feel like the intro didn't match your star power, but maybe we'll do it again. No, forget it. Well, let's move on. Lesa, thanks for coming in. You are another Atlanta-based actor. We've had one on before, so I'm interested to compare to see how you guys think of the industry versus West Coast versus East Coast. But enough about that. Let's talk to you.
Sure.
Let's get into it. So, according to your IMDb profile, you've been acting since you were very, very young. But it wasn't until a big director suggested you get into acting. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. And Robby, this is the first time I've shared this story in a public forum. So
what? Oh, yes. we got to hashtag that. We got to blow it up. Blow the story up.
Yes. So way back on my earlier years in my career, I used to just travel around and go to a lot of events. I was modeling a lot, and I had done American Idol, so I had made a lot of famous-ish friends because of that. And I was always getting invited to these Jerry Bruckheimer events, and one of them was a premiere that he was having in Atlanta, and met him there. He was one of the nicest people, and we all went out afterwards. And I was just sitting at the bar having a drink with Jerry Bruckheimer. At that point, wasn't really trying to be an actor because I wanted to be a singer, and was focused on modeling. And then he asked me if I was interested in acting. And at the time I was like, I haven't really thought about it. My exact words to him were, I'm probably better at being myself than I am portraying anybody else. So I just am sticking to music and, being a model. It's fine. I'm happy about it. But I saw him a number of times after that. He always remembered me and was always so kind and always told me I had a face for television, so I needed to pursue it. And then finally, I did, and it started blowing up in Atlanta, so it made it a lot easier.
Nice. And just to go back real quick, I know we kind of glossed over it, but being on American Idol is no small thing. How did you do on that show?
I was in the final 32. And it took up a lot of time. I spent about a year in contract with those people and going back and forth between Georgia and Los Angeles. And it was wild. I ended up blowing my voice out and being real pitchy and terrible in my last performance, getting kicked off the show. And it's fine. It's like a rite of passage, So it was good though. It was my first brush with like a real experience of being in the spotlight like that. And I went from being a waitress at Chili's to this girl that was on everybody's television. And it was crazy coming back home and dealing with the onslaught of instant fame and having to go like everywhere I went, people recognized me. And so that was super weird. But also like my first experience with it. And it opened up the doors, obviously, for many, many other things that were meant to come after that.
You also were a pageant coordinator on a Steven Soderbergh film, but that turned into something more. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So Logan Lucky is the film. And I got the casting through Extras Casting, actually. And it was because one of my former agents what had gone into this extras casting department. And she called, she knew I had a pageant background, and asked if I would go on as a tech advisor. And, you know, they would pay me the tech advisor rate, but they were going to put me on an actor's contract just because, you know, there's always a possibility that someone could throw you in. And she was like dropping hints and really hopeful that it would happen. And I was like, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. At least I just get to go to set and do something fun. So I was there for a couple of days, and they put me through hair and makeup. I had a trailer, the whole nine. You know, tech advisors don't always get that. They just get to like chill in the background in the extras holding area. And day two, we were there. I was standing in a crowd because it was a pageant scene. So there was an audience of extras there. So I'm just standing there talking to people. And the next thing I know, someone's shouting my name, and Steven Soderbergh was looking for me. And I was, of course, like, what's happening right now? Why would he be looking for me? Is there something wrong, you know? And then he pulls me up on stage, and he starts writing on an index card some lines. He was like, okay, we're going to put you in the movie. We're going to give you some lines. We're going to have you open up the pageant. You're going to be right here. And then it was like an instant switch from being, you know, just in the background and helping make the movie to being on camera and actually being a part of the film, which was really cool for me. And I kept that index card, and I laminated it, and it's in a little memory book that I have of all of the projects that have been so cool and wonderful, because that's an experience that, I mean, in my opinion, it's like a once in a lifetime thing. It just doesn't happen, you know, like how often do you get to go on as a tech advisor and then end up in the movie?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that you kept the index card. There's so many things that, like, my first one I ever did was for Young and the Restless, and I remember like I kept everything from that. Like, everything. I mean, anything I could put into my backpack. I was like, I'm keeping this, and I still have it somewhere here. But then, you know, which that's different. That was just my first overall book. This was a huge direct. I mean, he did all the Ocean's movies, Aaron Brockovich. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So that's really awesome. It's a cool story.
Yeah, it was really fun.
But I have to go. We're going to go backwards in time now. There we go. We're going backwards in time. Just a little bit, not a lot. We'll just say that, okay, because you had pageant experience, because you were Miss Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were the girl. You were it.
I have the crown to prove it.
Yeah, you do. Awesome. That's so cool. So you're Miss Georgia. We won't say the year. We'll just say Miss Georgia for sure. Can you tell us about that experience? I mean, I have so many questions, but sure, please just give me a little info, and I'm gonna butt in whenever I feel like.
Cool. I'll give you an overview. I wasn't a big pageant competitor before I got into the Miss Georgia pageant. I started out as having an interest in it. So I had just submitted a form online saying, hey, I might want to do this. And then they called me every single year to try to come. And I think this was like 4 years that had gone by before I actually competed. But I had put myself in a position with American Idol where I was in contract. I couldn't do anything else. It was always something keeping me from competing. So they called me my last year, and they were like, hey, you're aging out. Do you want to compete or not? Like, this is your last chance. And I had nothing holding me back. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. Cool. Most of the time I was not in pageants, so I was like modeling. So it was one of those things where I was going into it like, I just want to have this experience. You never know where it'll lead. And that's the way that I've always been in my career. Like, you never know what opportunity is going to open up doors or who you're going to meet whenever you're in those places. So I just go and I'm like, cool. So I went with that in mind and was totally cool. Just had the best time. It was so much fun. Did the competition, like ate spaghetti all weekend while everybody around me was doing crunches and starving themselves. And I was just like, I don't care. If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. And then whenever they called my name as the winner, I literally stopped breathing and almost passed out on stage because I thought there's no possible way they're going to crown me. You know, there's these veterans that have been in this pageant world forever. And then there's me. I'm the wild card. I'm the total like opposite of what you would think they would crown. And I won. And then 6 months later, I was on the Miss USA stage and placed second runner up. And it was life altering. Absolutely life-altering, because that then opened doors for me in the music industry. Shockingly enough, back in my American Idol days, I had met one of the guys that worked for Universal Republic, and we'd become friends. He wasn't an A&R, but he was just supportive of my career and really wanted to see good things happen for me. So we stayed in touch. But after Miss USA, the day after, he called me and he was like, hey, we were in our morning meeting today. And Monty Lippman, the president of Universal, was talking about Miss USA pageant and how he and his wife were rooting for Miss Georgia. They thought that Georgia should win. And I was like, yo, that's my friend. And so then Monty wanted to meet me. And so my dad and I flew to New York literally 48 hours later and met Monty Lippman at Universal Republic, and then went down this road of pursuing music again, because he sent me to every record label in Nashville. They really wanted me to be a country artist, but I wasn't feeling it. So ultimately, like, I walked away. But it was so cool, because I mean, that goes to show you, though, back to like walking into situations, because you have no idea who you're going to meet or how it's going to work out. Like, if I had not done Miss Georgia, I would never have met Monty Lippman at Universal Republic and had that experience. It's so cool how things happen like that.
So we just covered a lot of ground there, and I'm excited. I'm just saying,
so much.
We just covered so much ground in like 48 seconds or whatever that was. Phenomenal stuff. So let me just go back real quick, because first off, that's awesome. Everything you said, amazing. And I think that there's something to be said for, because sometimes on this show, we like, Robby D and Lesser Knowns, we do like to get educational. And I feel like there is something to be said for whether it's an audition or even in some cases a job interview, or in this case, Miss Georgia, which not many people encounter this situation, but the aloof, relaxed, I don't care attitude just crushes it. I know so many stories from people that have been on the show, people that have just told me stories, but like the whole just, you know what? Like, I was actually going on vacation that week and I didn't want this audition, but I had to go because my agent got it for me. I couldn't turn it down. So I walked in and auditioned and I didn't want it. I didn't even prepare it. I just did it. And then I freaking book it. And now I got to change my vacation, because it's like, it happens all the time. It's the fact that you're like, I don't even really care about this. I'm going to eat pizza. It plays well. And then to back that up, how accurate is Miss Congeniality behind the scenes for the pageant world? I mean, is that like spot on, or because I love that movie. I could watch Miss Congeniality on repeat 10 times a day.
Super funny. But my experience and every girl's experience is, I mean, I don't know, probably similar, because ever since I competed, I've gone into being a judge and I've been a host for pageants. And it seems to be a pretty universal experience where the girls are actually more supportive of one another and really want to see each other win. It becomes a big sisterhood. I never went to a traditional college. So for me, my pageant family was my sorority. Mm-hmm. And so I experienced that level of sisterhood that I would have in a sorority without having to go to college. So I mean, from my experience, my vantage point is that.
Well, to be fair, they did all rally together and make Sandra Bullock look really pretty for the final episode. They wanted to see her succeed.
This is true. And that's more true of what it's like.
Okay.
Sure.
So the end of the movie, got it. And then, okay. All right. I'll accept that, because I love Miss Congeniality. Yeah. It's a perfect script. I mean, it's got everything. I mean, it's amazing. The second one, total garbage, but the first one.
The first one was
nailed it. Okay. I think now we can formally transition, because you are a girl and you're a star.
Oh, thank you.
Bum ba da bum, Stargirl. Dad joke. Hashtag dad joke.
Love it.
I quit. Awesome. So Stargirl shoots in Atlanta, stars Owen Wilson and Amy Smart, and a bunch of other teen heartthrobs, of course. And you are right in the mix of it. You're in quite a few episodes. Can you tell us about the audition process? Because I know you're auditioning in Atlanta. It might be different than the other cities. So how'd you get the audition, and take us through that process?
Yeah. So it was just any other day, and the audition came through, and the breakdown for Bobby Berman was for someone about 10 years older than me, or at least like plays 10 years older than me. So my agent threw me in as a, just an extra, because I was going up against all of the people who'd been working in the industry another 10 years longer than me. And I was the wild card once again. So throws me into the mix, and self-tape. I did it in my office, in my place. I had my friend Lauren was my reader, and we just went through and we did a scene that was very similar to one of the scenes that I had in episode 8 of season 1. And it was it was just real quick, one single scene. And I booked it a couple weeks later. And then the next thing I know, I'm on set, and it just kept evolving and evolving, because we didn't know what it was going to be from one episode to the next. You know, it started out where I was in episode 2, I had one line, and then it grew. I was in episode 5, which ultimately all my stuff from episode 5 got cut, because they were just building at that point. They were building the torment of Bobby Berman, because Bobby is a very tortured Stepford wife character that is essentially bullied constantly by her stepdaughter, and she has been pulled into this family, stolen from her life, and forced into this family and in a position of servitude. So it was just building that out, and all that got cut. And then we jumped to like episode 7 and 8, where I got to really play, and I had some great scenes with Luke and Angelica, and, you know, all of my scenes with Meg were always so much fun. So it just kept evolving, and here we are in season 2.
Great. So I do have one question about it, and that's, I want to point out something you just said there about the age range, because I feel like that plays into what we were just talking about of, oh, this character actually is not for me. It's for someone much older than me. So when you audition, you're just kind of like, oh, cool. I'm not going to get this one. This is not my range.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And then it's like, so maybe your audition had a certain relaxed nature to it that was subconscious to you, but people watching, they're like, oh, wow, she's really calm. And
well, it did come off as that. I just went into pretty poised, like the thing that they always teach us in pageants, you know, shoulders back, perfect host, and was how I presented. Because in my audition, I'm presenting bacon wrapped dates to Kat, who was, who's Luke Wilson, and it was just like, for me, it was second nature to play that, because I had been that person for so long in the pageant world. So it was very easy for me to just sit into the pocket of that type of character. And I just had fun with it. I made it my own. I really do tend to throw away the instructions and throw away all of whatever they say about the character, unless it's like a particular personality trait that they're really specifically looking for. I make sure that I honor that, but everything else, my goal is to tell the story through my lens. And so that's what I did, and it worked. They picked me over all of the women who were 10 plus years older than me.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
Like an ongoing joke on set, you know, everybody's like, how are you like old enough to play the mom? And I was just like, well, first of all, thank you very much. Secondly, I guess technically, if we got down to brass tacks, I could be her mother, but I'm not. And the fact that it was a stepmom situation, it made it to where it was more of a believable scenario.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. For 2 reasons. One, I had a similar experience myself with a commercial here in town where the guy was supposed to be high 40s.
Yeah.
Like it was like 45 to 50, I think. And I auditioned with someone else who didn't have a partner. I was there working at the studio, and they said, okay, she needs a partner. Can you just come in and read with her? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went in there and I read with her. I wound up getting a call back, and they got rid of the female character altogether. Not because of me, obviously, but like it was supposed to be a husband and wife. And then they got rid of the female character, put it just a husband. Okay. And so I got a call back for it. And then I got a call back also knowing like, oh, they probably, one, agency guy probably picked me. And then sure enough, it was like, I remember his auditioning was really weird just because, and it wasn't on purpose. It was just like, oh, I'm not right for this. And I had so much fun during that audition. I was like improv, and I was coming up, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And then I got availed and then booked it. And I remember being like, telling my wife, she was like, you always do it better when the role's not for you. It's like a subconscious thing. So if you ever get an audition out there, people, that's not for you, just go with it, because God damn it, you're going to book it. But I do have one more question about what you're saying a second ago. You and your friend were working on it. And this could be quick. How much like coaching goes into your auditions? I mean, is it kind of like by role? If it's like a co-star, you probably don't coach. Guest star, you do. Or is it like you've been doing this for so long, the self-tapes, you kind of don't really need the coaching for the auditions?
Yeah, I'm one of the weirdos that I read my script when it arrives. I read all the sides, and I make my choices, and I decide on what the relationships are between the characters. And then I don't read it again until I start working on it in the audition process. And I have a couple of taping partners, one specifically that we kind of have a deal where we tape pretty much everything together. And if one of us is not available, we have our people that are our backups, but we just have a system and it works. And we both have started operating like this. And we have so much fun when we audition now. It's like playtime, and we experiment. We always do one that's like what the pages tell us to do. And then we have one where it's like, okay, just have fun, throw everything away. And then another one where it's like, all right, now don't give a crap about anything, like just have an opinion and let that be it. But I haven't done coaching on any of my auditions. Gosh, I swear it's probably been 3 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started booking, I hit this really good booking streak in 2018. And I was in class at the time, but I had to drop class because I was working too much. And the more I was on set, the better my auditions got, because I was obviously working opposite of A-listers and people that had been in the industry for years and years and years. I'm finally working with legends, and it's a master class. And you just being present and actually like seeing their humanity is another thing that makes it so much easier in the audition process, because you know that like they're just human like you are, and they make mistakes on set, and some of them are really gracious about it and some of them are not. But it's like that moment where you're just like, oh, okay, I don't have to overthink this anymore. I can just be a person and it be fine.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a long answer to your short question.
That was a great answer, because you said some of them are masters at it. I mean, I know Luke Wilson has the One Take Luke was his nickname on the Old School set. Is he One Take Luke on Stargirl?
At times, yeah. And then other times, no. And he's like, anytime he would mess up, he was just so apologetic. He's a very generous actor. He's really good to share a scene with. And, you know, he was definitely like one of my favorites that I've gotten to work with, just because he's a legend. He's a Hollywood legend. You know, you go into it, you have no idea what to expect, but it's just like running into a guy at the coffee shop that you meet for the first time. He just talks to you, and it's no different from any other situation. And it's like if you and I were in a scene together, it's the exact same scenario.
Nice. Awesome. I'd probably take like 12 takes, but that's just me. No, that's awesome. That's really good insider info, because I feel like the more auditions turn this direction of self tapes. I mean, I don't know when auditioning in rooms is going to be back. It might be a really long time, another year possibly. So the more people are doing this, I mean, they're going broke spending money on coaching for self tape. So it's like, usually pay for the coaching, because you're going to go there and get one shot in the room, maybe 2 or 3. Yeah. At least in LA, and you're reading in front of someone, you only get a couple of chances to nail it. So you really want to make sure it's like the figure skater, if you will, at the Olympics. You get one shot to nail it. So kind of the same thing here. And then it's like, when you're doing self tapes, well, I can have infinity number of shots to nail it. So I don't really have to. It's kind of your mindset. I mean, some people need the coaching, some don't. So I just think that's interesting from your perspective that you don't.
Yeah, totally. I think also, like, my whole perspective on it is, if I haven't nailed it by 3 takes in my self tape, I'm not going to. And I'm just like, it's one of these, and that's what it's going to be. And I'm okay with it. I literally apply that I just don't care attitude to everything. And I think that's why I started booking like gangbusters. So.
Well, you hear that, people? Write it down. Just don't give a shit about anything, and you'll be successful. That is the secret.
I care. But when it comes to the auditions, it's like, until they give me the role, you know, it's like, I just get to put on play. I'm putting on a little play in my room, and I'm sending out my stuff for all my friends in the casting burst to see, you know?
Nice. That's funny. I have one more question, because I mean, I know you have the attitude you don't care, but once you get on set, you do care, because well, and I'll tell you why, because here's my next segue into Doom Patrol, where you broke your elbow while filming and the scene must go on. Tell us about that.
It was the first day, and
First day. You couldn't even wait till the 3rd day to get hurt?
No, I couldn't, because I had to do it big, you know, like that's just how I do things. It's either just go broke, literally. So I had already shot a couple of scenes, and I was in my trailer, minding my business. I think I was texting my agent or something, and they come to the door and they're like, hey, we're going to need you on set right now. So, I mean, you know how it is. It's like you go and you wait and wait and wait. And then they come at you and they're like, no, no, no. So I tossed my phone down, spun around to just follow out the door, and the top of my toe caught the edge of the steps, and it threw me forward. And so I was like going into an action scene and falling out of my trailer. Mind you, I'm wearing a super suit and I'm playing a character who can fly. Okay. That's the irony of the situation. So I fly out of my trailer. It's the only flight that I did on this set. And I catch myself. And at first I had no idea that I had hurt myself other than the blood that was pouring out of my hands. But I wasn't concerned primarily because I was wearing gloves in the scene. So I get up and I'm like, it's cool, and brush it off. I'm really tough. I grew up on a farm and I am used to getting hurt. So I was like, it's fine. I will be able to just like brush this off, walk through it. We've only got like 2 more shots for the day. We'll knock this out and I'll be good. And walk over to the van. And I was like, hey, can you just have them call the medic and meet us on set because my hands are bleeding and I need to bandage them up before I put them in the gloves because I don't want to get the gloves all bloody. So the medic comes over and I was just sitting in the van chilling. He comes over, I stand up, and the change from being seated to standing, all the blood just rushed out of my head, and I'm standing there talking to him, telling him what happened. And I just blacked out right there on the face of it. Girl, she down, girl gone. and so I came to, like, I don't know, a few minutes later, and then I had no idea where I was, didn't know why I was there, couldn't figure out what was happening. And once they finally got me upright, I was like, oh, that's right, I'm on set. I'm in a super suit. Oh, I'm on Doom Patrol. We got to go shoot this scene. Crap. They wouldn't let me stand up. They made me sit there. So they like paused production. You never want to be that person, you know? Like, yeah. I don't want to be the person that's causing a pause in production. So they finally get me up. We go to set. The medic is on me like crazy. And he was like, I'll bring you some painkillers, whatever you need. And I was just like, yeah, let me just get through this. And meanwhile, my arm, I was like, I can't really move my arm, but I'll just like hold it by my side in this scene and it'll be fine. But then it started throbbing and I asked for more painkillers. And then by the end of the scene, I was in so much pain, I could not stand it. So they took me to the hospital and I spent the rest of the evening there. And it turns out I had fractured my elbow in 2 places and I had to be back on set at 7 a.m. the next day to continue and continue the following week. The whole time. So pretty much the whole time I was on Doom Patrol, I was shooting with a fractured elbow and just push through because first of all, I'm an Atlanta actor. So I'm not trying to give Atlanta actors a bad reputation. So I was doing it for my people, first of all, and also because I didn't want to be that person. And how often do you get to wear a super suit and play a superhero? So also, like, I don't care. If my leg was broken, I would have been out there in crutches. It's just the way, or limping to make it look like I could walk. So yeah, so I continued on and footage came out beautiful. You could never tell.
That's awesome because I know that on The Matrix, Carrie-Anne Moss like broke her ankle while before they even started filming. The girl played Trinity. Yeah. She was so scared they're going to replace her. She never said anything and filmed like almost that whole movie on a completely broken ankle. And it's like commitment, baby. I appreciate it.
It is because a role like that, you just don't walk away from it.
No, heck no. Well, we here at Robby D Lesser Knowns commend your commitment to any role. And we don't consider you an Atlanta actor. We consider you an actor. But I got some bad news for you.
Oh, I don't like bad news.
Yeah, it's coming, whether you like it or not. Because not even your commitment to character can help you in our next segment. It is by far the most deadly segment we have on this show. Your chances of dying are really, really slim, but it is still the most deadly segment.
Cool.
So I want you to make sure you're prepared and committed and ready for method acting. Okay, Lesa. Yes. I need you to strap into your seatbelt there because it's almost time. Let's see the space work. It's just a lap belt. There's no shoulder strap.
I'm in an old school truck.
Or an airplane. Got it. All right. So we're strapped and we're ready to go. It's time for question 1. You're an American Idol contestant that only has one take to nail it for Randy Jackson, singing Blue Sky, 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 and action.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. You don't like it? Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, all my things fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on.
I want you to know something.
What?
You nailed the question. This face is angry because you got it right. You're supposed to. Damn it. All right, not bad for your first go round, but answer me question 2. Serious, no laughing.
Serious.
You're a superhero. You fly in to deliver a motivational speech battling the evil butt balloons. But you really don't care. Action.
Rhea Jones here, and to tell you that the butt balloons, they've got nothing on you. Your butts are better. Always been better. Now go out there and kick some ass.
Ooh. Cut. That sounded like you actually cared.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of simultaneously.
You're so committed. Your character always cares. Fine, I'll give you a point there. But this third one's going to be tricky. So answer me. Question 3. You're back in Miss Georgia competition, and you're answering the final question. And it's, what would you do to work towards world peace? But you're on painkillers. Killers. And action.
Well, I think world peace can be accomplished if we all just smile a little bit more and, get a dog. Or maybe a parakeet that can tell you that you're beautiful. Because you're beautiful, baby. And that's how we're going to achieve world peace.
Oh my God, it's over. You were looking nervous there for a second. I thought for sure you were going to break under the pressure, but you did it.
The pageant girl never breaks.
No, I love it. I see that. I'm very impressed with your poise.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Poise. Fantastic stuff. Great answers. Fun segment as always. And we've reached another pivotal point in the show. That's the shameless plug segment.
Yes.
You have your own YouTube channel about going green. You want to tell us about it real quick?
Yes. So while in quarantine, I decided to start my YouTube channel and focus on environmentalism, and with really the intention of making people more aware of our individual impact with single-use plastics and how we consume things. And it's made me take a really big look at my own life and how I get through every day to day. And also like the packaging that everything comes in and how it's just scattered throughout the planet and literally never goes anywhere except for into sea life and breaks up into microplastics and all that. But we're not here for that conversation. Going Green talks about all of these things. And I just did a partnership with Hannah Testa and the Plastic Pollution Coalition it was a 6-part series on the problem with plastic pollution and some of the solutions that we can have. And I'm about to do a partnership with Shift Drinks Comedy, where we're going to do a 10-part comedic approach to reducing plastics in restaurants. And so I do fun stuff like that. And most of my episodes are like 5 minutes or less, just because, people's attention spans are very short. And so I have fun with it. It's like a passion project and I love doing it.
Nice. Boy, howdy. If people can't make it past 5 minutes, how are they ever going to get past my 40-minute show? But getting rid of single-use plastics definitely needs to happen. Clean up the oceans, people. Be responsible. You go to the beach, pack it in, pack it out, or anywhere you go for that matter. Wonderful. We look forward to seeing that. Of course, we'll share some links for you guys to check out. Also, a reminder, we are on YouTube. If you don't want to just hear Lesa's beautiful voice, you can see her made-for-TV face, according to one very prominent Hollywood director, Jerry B., my man, our man. Lisa, let me get you out of here. The same question I ask all my guests at the very end of the show. And that is, what would Lesa Wilson now tell Lesa Wilson for advice just starting her career?
Never change who you are. The thing about what we do as actors is we have to bring that special magic sauce that is who you are. It's the essence of who you are. And I spent a lot of years just trying to make sure I was doing the right thing. And things really started clicking for me whenever I realized that the right thing was just being myself and really infusing my essence into everything that I did. So stay true to you.
Wow, that rivals one of the top answers you ever had to that question. That's beautiful. That's what I'm just gonna be myself right now for the outro. And I want to tell you a huge thank you. I really appreciate you coming on the show. We had a great time. Loved every second of it. That's what myself thinks. And I want to go ahead and give myself some kudos. I was great.
You were fantastic. You deserve a round of applause.
Thank you. There you go. It's an actual circle for those of you not watching the video.
Exactly.
But you can watch the video and see that. Check us out on YouTube. Check out Lesa's fantastic Going Green channel. We need that information out there because people need to start spreading the word on cleaning up the oceans and the environment. And of course, you can tune in next week. We're going to have another fantabulous guest on, and that is none other than the Miss Sandra Bullock's going to be on the show. Woo! That may or may not be true. Only one way to find out, and that's to check us out next week at Robby and Lesser Knowns. And thanks for tuning in this week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Robby D and the Lesser Known.